Here. Good evening, folks. Welcome. I'm Alfonso Zianso to the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. Wow, let's pause this music here. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much. This is Alfonso Zianso of the Liberia Public Radio. Special editions of All Things Considered. The first segment, we're going to be going deeper into the big rally fundraiser in the liberal state of California. The politics of Liberia is known right here with us in the USA. We are here in organizer and global committee of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. Will be having a major fundraiser in the liberal state of California, Sacramento. The organizing supporters are here. We're going to be having our conversations. I'm Alfonso Zianso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Good evening to all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evening. Good evening. Welcome. I'm Alfonso Zianso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv, New England Bureau Chief Anchor. We are here this evening, this beautiful wet evening here in the East Coast. But thank God there's a roof over me, so I am good. I'm not going to get wet. I'm not going to get soaked. Trust me, we're going to have a conversation. The program is in two segments this evening. In the first phase, we are hearing big preparations is in the making. In the liberal state of California, the politics of Liberia has traveled to the United States, and you have been saying that almost consistently. Alexander Benedict Cummings of the Opposition Alternative National Congress, ANC, Global Wing, is launching a big fundraiser rally in a bid to secure him the presidency in Liberia. Is it a super PAC? Who are going to be part of that preparation? Well, the organizing team are here. And right after that, at 9 Eastern Standard Time, the analysts will be here in their regular talking point. Well, the group standing by very shortly, I'm going to be breaking down here. Our understanding, one of our own analysts, Jonathan Dulake, he's all around trying to get the message of his guy. He's here this evening. He's based in California, next to the liberal Samson Brown tour. We're going to be breaking here. It promises to be a good conversation here this evening. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
5 priorities we have, and we call that the what. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, it's electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people.
Okay, there you have it. If you see this billboard behind me here, something is involved, nothing for nothing. They are politicians. They are seeking for the higher office of the land. So anything we do here, when you see this billboard behind me here, then something is involved. And it's an open field. CDC, Unity Party, Liberty Party, reach us and to think we can get a message. Call us and we're going to have a conversation. The time is taken away. Let me bring in our guests. They are already here. Jonathan is here, and our understanding the Eastern chair of this fundraiser, Madam Washington, is also here. We're going to do it our own Liberian way, ladies before gentlemen. Jonathan is here on a regular basis. Let me bring in Madam Washington here this evening. Good evening and welcome. Let me bring in Jonathan on the other side. Good evening to welcome. This is the Liberal Public Radio. I'm quite sure it's not a strange one to you. You follow us and you know where we are. Okay, guys, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Okay. Jonathan, do I need to put out a welcome flag for you as well?
No. I'm regular, yeah. Welcome, Madam Naoli Washington. It's a pleasure seeing you here.
Okay.
Definitely, it's an honor to be here.
Okay, I'm literally running out of breath, but I'm going to hold fire with it because it's about the country, and so we're going to do here. Okay, so Madam Washington, quite a long while, but out of a courtesy, please introduce yourself to our many viewers, followers, and those who will be following this conversation, wondering who is this lady, where is she, how is she into this whole thing here?
Well, thank you again for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Naoli Washington. I am the ANC Western Region Chair. I lived in Sacramento, California. And of course, we are hosting this event and more to come later. So thank you for having us.
Ooh, okay. All right, just bear with me in a little bit. I'm trying to do some, I know you. Okay. So we want to make sure and give a sense to our viewer who we're having and who are going to look like. Okay, what's in here? I know you won't even bother, but most of my guys, then if you the title that belongs to them, if you don't give it, oh my goodness, that's a big problem. Okay. So, Jonathan, I know you here in a different form, in a different shape. So, let the cat out of the bag as well, so we can have a conversation.
Thank you, Mr. So, and again, not only you are welcome on this platform. That's the regional chair of the ANC Western region, and we feel so quite humble and happy today. Today being the birthday of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, he turns 66 years of age. So you can see that there's a nexus between the old age group of people and the young age people. So he comes with that energy to transforming our country. And those of us, I will not put myself there because I'm not a diaspora. I just visiting my wife and family and trying to keep up with the family here a little while. But those of you who have been in the diaspora or years, like many countries like Nigeria, Ghana, you are yearning to go back home. You are wishing that your country will be laid out in terms of healthcare, not as compared to that of the West, but to somewhat you need good road network, good telecommunication, good security, not just for political party, but for all the citizens. You need good banking system that you can access your bank. And by that, people in the diaspora get attracted back home because the diaspora is a reservoir of knowledge for any developing nation. So due to this, Liberians in the diaspora that have amalgamated themselves into what we call ANC Global, distributed themselves into different regions, have chosen to have a regular fundraising for the following reasons that Madam Naoli will expand on later. But few among them will be to mobilize human beings to carry Mr. Cummings' message that he started since 2016. To making sure that you have voter education, awareness of what the responsibilities and rights of the people are. Some people say, I'm going to vote.
Don't worry. Don't let the book take place.
Let me just finish voting now. Will come. So all these people together and the pool washing and other things that she will list and explain better are the reason why the ANC Global has decided to do regular fundraising. And we in California here are doing the end of the year fundraising, importantly, just after Mr. Cummings' birthday.
Okay, Cummings' birthday today. Are we popping some champagne here, Madam Chair? I didn't even know that's a birthday.
Yes,
yes. We're going to pop some champagne before this program comes to an end.
It's a special birthday, Shout out to Mr. Cummings. He turned 66 today. He's an inspiration to us. He's an amazing leader. So we pray that God blesses him with more wisdom to continue to do the work for Liberia.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much to our folks, viewers, listeners. Getting some tweet already from my man Elijah from Inside Liberia Monitoring. You guys go down to vote, or is it just going to be done here? That's a different conversation we're going to have. But okay, Madam Washington, thank you so much for joining us here. And let's set the basis of this conversation for the benefit of our listening audience. Okay, let me see. You also see one of our special guests who happens to be the Deputy Chief of Staff to the ANC political leader. Mr. Moluba K. Yobo is here. Let me just bring him in here. Mr. Yobo is here. Good evening. Welcome. You are on the official outlet of the Liberia Public Radio.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. And good evening to my fellow colleagues on here.
Okay, just to do fair before Madam Washington come in, just give her a little bit of run through, introduce yourself. Let them hear it from the house this morning.
All right. Hey, yes, that's good to see you.
Yeah, just quickly introduce yourself.
Okay. So my name is Molvaki Yogbo Jr. I'm Deputy Chief of Office Staff in the Office of the Senate Bureau of the Collaborating Political Parties. I'm involved with outreach and engagement. So whenever the Senate Bureau is going out, I have to be there to ensure that all of these visits are properly arranged, your plan, and the expected outcomes are achieved. So that's basically what I do in the Senate Bureau's office. I'm also a
Okay.
member of the ANC.
ANC, of course, being a deputy chief of staff to to the leader, you got to be a car carrying member, not somebody that is passing through. Okay, gentlemen, welcome. This is still Liberia Public Radio. Let me come to you, Madam to Washington. So let's get a sense of this whole program here, ANC Global. I know in the past I was able to have an interview with Mr. Passaway. I'm not sure whether he's still the chairman, but that's just a different game. Is uh, we've been seeing programs, fundraiser consistently over and over. Here we are at his birthday. You guys just pronounced his birthday here today. And there's a big fundraiser. Give us a run through what this is all about.
So thank you. So this weekend, like Mr. Dolake said, will be we have a final fundraiser this weekend, starting from Friday to Sunday, and we're going to start on Friday. We're expecting a delegation, Mr. Cummings, Dr. Brunel, the president of the Cummings Foundation, of course, Mr. Yoba, who just spoke, Mr. Maluba Cassidy, the Secretary General and Youth Congress ANC, Mr. Elas Monga, our chairman of ANC Global, Mr. Paul Chilobe, the Western Regional Chair. Those are delegations that's going to be coming with Mr. Cummings to our event this weekend. And we're going to start off at the state capital of Sacramento, where we're going to introduce our delegates and some of the guests to welcome them to Sacramento with a little tour. From there, we're going to have a meeting and a luncheon at the Library Galleria downtown Sacramento. At that luncheon, the goal is to focus on trade and commerce with our American friends and colleagues and highlight Mr. Cummings at that meeting. We expect to have Assembly Member Lori Wilson and also a couple of other names from Sacramento, Assembly Member Mia Bonta, as well as the Deputy Director of Civil Rights, David Deluxe of Caltrans, Mr. Gary Simon, the Executive Director of Sacramento Juneteenth, and Dr. Ernest Wanzier, a Director of Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution, and also a professor at Sac State University, the Department of Criminal Justice. Just to name a few, those are the people that Mr. Cummings are going to be meeting with on Friday. And like I stated, the goal is basically to build relationship. As we know, America have a standing relationship with Liberia. So as our next president, Mr. Cummings, and I'm going to speak this into existence, as our next president, Mr. Cummings, coming to office, we want to make sure he's building relationship and maintaining those relationships we have with the United States. So we're doing our best in the Western region and other regions in the United States to make connections that will last a long time. So yes.
Oh.
I know we have a big weekend plan because, Mr. Cummings has visited California before, but this is his first visit as a standard bearer. So we want to make sure we leave a lasting impression and to reach out to as many friends and friends of Liberia as possible. Because, like I said, want to make sure we utilize all the opportunities. So we're going to have a very busy weekend for Mr. Cummings.
Busy weekend. I'm already seeing this is unfolding right here. What a huge events in the liberal state. Okay, let me bring in the Deputy Chief of Officer to the political leader, Mr. Yobo. Thank you so much for coming here. My guest here, delegation also coming from inside Liberia.
Absolutely, like Ms. Washington said, the Senator will be accompanied by me, of course, he's the Chief of Staff. The Youth Congress Secretary General, Bola Kesley, will also be there. So yeah, we three coming from the office of the Standard Bearer. We expect the chairman, but he hasn't confirmed yet. We're still looking forward to getting his confirmation. Chairman Daniel Litton, that is.
Okay, good. All right. So, Delicate, you can be spectator to this whole thing here. You are the guy having sleepless one night and getting the message of the ANC and the ANC leadership. Let's get a sense here of this event here, fundraisers. What happens to the other sister chapters, other branches of ANC's supporters? Is this everybody going to be heading to the Liberal State this coming weekend for this event?
We really hope that everybody will be available. We really, really hope that everybody will be available, and to the extent to which we ourselves might not even have the means and way by which we can be able to host everybody. But we definitely know that there will be a lot of people coming from different chapters representing different chapters. People have already started arriving, as a matter of fact. People will be arriving in San Francisco. Some people started arriving in San Francisco. There will be a huge level of people arriving in Sacramento tomorrow, where the thing will be taking place. The Gala fundraising will be taking place. And so we expect a huge turnout of Liberians. And what is really interesting about it is that Mr. Alex Comey, being who he is, he changed the narrative of our politics and this for the media consumption and for the general public, especially for those in California. That since he got into the political sphere of our country, he have always taken questions and comments from the audience and from visitors. Visitor from audience from town hall meetings, sorry. And he had done that because he has absolutely zero in his closet to have from those who want to govern. So because of that, Mr. Cummings will be having a town hall meeting at in Sacramento, where Liberians, then that will be about 3 o'clock. He will attend a service, he will go to a town hall meeting, and Liberians will be there to ask him questions. People who have not seen him, people who have heard him, people who have heard about him, they will have a taste of him where he will be answering questions, particularly related to issues confronting our country and how we can fix those issues, not just laundry list of problems that we have without any realistic and measured solutions, but he will also be proffering solutions that are practical and also taking suggestions from Liberians who have worked here and the system have worked for them and how to get our value to Liberia to take it from where it is. So those are things that will be, and then we're not. I don't want to forget the Jolly Jolly. We're going to make sure Jolly Jolly in Liberia is the enjoyment aspect. We're going to make sure we raise.
Don't tell me Booker Dan's going to be in that area there. Don't make me get a flight tomorrow to start making my way to.
We will dance Booker. As a matter of fact, we will dance Booker sufficiently because we are not collecting taxpayer money. Not only that, but that we have time on to ourselves.
Okay, let me hold you there. Let me bring Kingston Washington because I know you do like it. Look, there seems to be beyond the fundraiser, there is other inner part that hopefully can be revealed here to rebranding to Mr. Cummings and kind of try to get him out as much as possible. I am not saying he's not being out in the public, but based on what I'm hearing from Delicate and even Mr. Your boy, the diaspora is a very powerful, supportive arm to whatever process that is taking place here. So my guess there will be some other interaction, not just only the fundraising aspect.
Yes, definitely. Like Mr. Dolake said, we want to make sure we reach out to as many Liberians and friends of Liberia as possible. So we are going to have the free town hall meeting on Sunday after church. We're going to have the church service to one of our local community churches, Friends in Confidence. That's headed by Pastor Tim Wooler. That meeting is going to be open to the public on Sunday, and the service is going to start at 11 o'clock. After the service, we're going to have a luncheon and then go into the town hall meeting. In addition to that, of course, money talks. So we have to have this amazing fundraiser on Saturday so that we can raise funds to do the things that we need to do in Liberia. Not to put money in Mr. Cummings' pocket, of course. We don't need to do that, but we have a lot of work in Liberia. I know I was in Liberia personally in 2017 for the elections, and it was very expensive. I mean, anything from mobilization to poll washing to buying T-shirts, or even outside of the campaign and just helping a child to buy food or helping a market woman or something like that. Every day in Liberia, we're all Liberians, so we know that every day in Liberia is expensive. So we're hosting this fundraiser because we cannot, become leaders of Liberia if we're not able to raise money. So therefore, we have this fundraiser on Saturday evening at the Holiday Inn in Elk Grove. Which we're inviting everybody. We have tickets for $100 for general admission, and then we have other packages that's available. So please reach out to us to support the cause. I hear a lot of Liberians saying that we're not political. We're not political. I pray to God that we can get out of that mindset of not being political, because as a Liberian, I think we all need to be political to make change in Liberia. Because everything that we do, whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's going to the market, everything is political because it has to do with our government. So as a matter of fact, I want to urge all Liberians to try to be political so we can make a bigger impact. So I'm saying that to say that I want you to come to the fundraiser, hear what Mr. Cummings have to say, see how you can help to bring life to the whole situation in Liberia.
Okay, well, I'm Afonso Z and so to the Liberia Public Radio. We can now confirm that Liberia Public Radio Services has been hired. We will be bringing some of the event expected this weekend, glued to Lpr-Tv, the Liberal Progressive Samson Blocko Brown Tour, who is also based in the Liberal state, will be that. We will keep you posted as more news become available. Let me go to the Deputy Chief of Office. Okay, I think his camera gone off here. Okay, let me go back to Mr. Yoba. Tell us here, you guys trying to raise money and coming with delegates from inside Liberia here. It might sound a little bit ridiculous. What is the essence? What is ANC trying to showcase here?
So thank you for that question. The ANC, we believe that we should bring our all to the table. We don't carry ourselves as though we have everything, but we believe that whatever we have, we should share with our country. That is why Mr. Cummings, with all of what he has, that he has been blessed with, he still thinks that he won't live a fulfilled life if his country of origin, where he comes from, the lives of the people are so bad. They're living in destitution. Look, so I just came from Liberia 4 days ago, right? And I can tell you for a fact, the life in our country, and you were there, we met. You were at the office, we met. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the life the people are living in our country, if we don't rise up, if we don't stand up, and we have another 6 years of what's happening right now, there will be no country to rescue. There will be no country. That is why I'm a businessman, right? I would just sit around, do my business, and everything is fine. I don't care less about politics. But it's come to the point, like Chair in Washington said, everyone now has to be involved in the politics of the country. Because if you don't get involved, the very few that will get involved, no matter how unenlightened they are, they get to run the country. They get to affect those who are quote unquote enlightened. So to put a stop to that, we who pride ourselves with knowledge, awareness and everything, we have to stand up equally and fight them for the soul of our country. That is why we're here. I'm here at my own expense. Mr. Cummings did not pay my flight ticket. I'm here at my own expense. So too is MOBA. So we all came to support this initiative of the Midwest, the Western chapter of our party in the U.S. And I will be so honored. I mean, the flight is so long from the East Coast, about 7-8 hours. but I already did another 8 hours from Morocco to New York, so I'm just flying all over the place.
You already, yeah, man.
Yeah, so I know how hard this is, but of course we have to make the sacrifice for our country. If our country has to change, the lives of the other people have to be better off. We all have to make the sacrifice, and that is why Mr. Cummings keeps inspiring me as a young person. He tells me more about everything is possible, but you have to make the ultimate sacrifice. It doesn't happen because you wish it or you will it. It only happens because you're actually doing the work to ensure it happens. So yeah, we're not here to show off, but we just came to show that we actually mean what we say, and we're saying what we mean for our country.
Okay, there's a tradition on this network because what we do, we take it serious. Entertainment is at a very minimum when you come on this platform. So we also value the comments. We allow our onliners to participate. This is a comment. You know him very personally. He's from Liberia. He's in Liberia. And he's asking, so nice, regardless, think about this. I think it's almost like one, and people are listening because people don't know what is happening in their country. This is a consequential one that he's asking. Will you guys come down to vote? I know he's not referring to Mr. Yobo. He's already done that, but maybe
I can definitely answer that question. I don't know if you heard me, but I was there for 2017 elections. I was part of the process. I wasn't able to vote last election, but I definitely plan to be there this year to register and then participate in the process like I did last year and go beyond. So yes, to answer your question, I think it was Elijah. To answer your question, my plan is to go there to vote, and I'm planning to also take family members to go as well. So we're not just doing this in the diaspora and sitting back and just talking. Want to be part of the process because whether people believe it or not, we care about what's going on in Liberia. We care about Liberians. I mean, just to add a little bit more to that, when I was in Liberia, just looking at children selling little snacks and stuff in between cars when they should be in school, it's very hurtful. We all have children in this country, and we see the opportunity and the means that they have. We travel around the world, we see the opportunities and stuff like that. But then when people go to Liberia or when they have the opportunity, they don't do what they need to do. So we need those things to change. So to answer your question in short, yeah, we plan on being there to vote in October. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm just here.
And Mr. So, I would definitely, God is a defined God. It might not be good to the liking of the rest of the political parties and those who have purchased their tickets and the neck had to postpone it. But I've been praying on my knees to be there for the voter registration as well as the electoral process. I'm going to be fully there. I will be well represented. That I can assure you.
Okay. So let me ask this question. And I know I had an opportunity when I was talking to Mr. Cummings, and I've also done a search, which of course is the ANC Global is a full registered network here to all for my. Is this as a superpower for the ANC to enhance a political ambition, Madam Washington?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that one more time, please?
I was asking whether the ANC Global is a superpower to enhance the ANC political ambitions support. Election with our money is there. You know, I know, he knows. Every planet Earth, it doesn't matter. You don't even have to be. It's a costly process. But I'm just wondering, is it a superpower for the ANC?
Is it a superpower
to money? Because I've seen this fundraiser is ANC Global. You are the financial strength behind ANC, correct?
Yeah, I believe we do. I think like Mr. Dolake said, we're doing our last fundraiser. We're putting our all into it. Our goal is to raise $100,000 this weekend. And we're hoping that we'll definitely use those resources to invest back into Liberia. So all that money, the whole purpose of that money is to go back to Liberia and to invest that money into campaigning, into awareness, and all that, all those other things that relate to the elections. So the whole purpose of the fundraiser is to put back into Liberia 100%.
100%. Oh, I'm not sure. This is not the first one, correct? This is not the first fundraiser, neither the second.
No, as a matter of
Other
fact,
places.
yeah, this is the first one
Oh,
this year
California.
in the Western region.
In the Western
But
region.
in October, we're in Maryland area for our national convention, and we had a few others. We're in Florida earlier during the year for another convention. So we've moved around. Yeah, we've moved around quite a bit, raising funds to make this possible.
Okay. You said the tiger is what, 100,000? You guys,
$100,000. Yeah.
that's the tiger. Oh, wow. 100,000. Well,
I know it's ambitious, right? So it's ambitious.
Yeah, 100,000 is a chicken change. You really want to run an effective
Right.
campaign. So, I mean, it sounds big, but we know how much is being used for political eye here. And Liberia is no exception.
It's not,
Those guys are
like
beating
it's even more expensive, actually.
Do you guys do full disclosure? I'm sorry if this question is too extreme. Do you do full disclosure after these fundraiser, the donors, and all of that?
Yes, we definitely do. As a matter of fact, you know that ANC Global is a registered organization. So all funds collected goes directly through ANC Global, and all that is accounted for and is expensed accordingly through our national treasury. So yes, we have everything documented and fully available to be disclosed. We're very open. We're starting to operate the way we want to do things in Liberia. So no what I call it, corruption business here. We're very transparent with everything that we do.
Mr. Yaba, let's turn the camera off here. Is the presence of ANC Global, is it felt in Liberia? Put aside politics here a little bit, which of course it would be very difficult, it'd be insane to ask you to put aside politics here. But is the ANC Global presence is felt? Because this seems to be a supportive, which of course is good. You can be talking, you support somebody, and you're not even willing to put in dime and nickel. How do you expect a person to succeed? Politics is not just all about talking, but it comes with financial resources. But I'm asking this question to say that the tendency is always there to, oh, the people in the diaspora, they're not doing anything. But there are so many forms of shaped contributions come from in the diaspora in different forms and contexts. So I'm just asking you to validate this here. You, based in Liberia, is the presence of ANC Global, is it felt in Liberia?
Absolutely. I'm not even sure if there will be an ANC in Liberia without the support of our global chapters. All right, that's both in America and Europe. And by the way, we have a very strong showing now in Europe, especially in Germany and the United Kingdom, in the UK. We're doing pretty well. Mr. Kumi was just in Germany the other day. So yes, and I'd like to piggyback on Ms. Washington's earlier statement about the accounting for finances raised in our the fundraisers. I can bear true witness that these monies are actually remitted to our national treasury back home in Liberia, because I've seen projects being written and fundings are sent from ANC Global to fund these projects. And I can say also for a fact that several other ANC Global members from even Hot Chapter, some from the Eastern Chapter, you know, they have individual projects. Like, for example, Pat Mandela Davis. I know that for a fact. In fact, he has a low auxiliary he's put together to support Sakumi's election. Smaller groups, Dr. King, Bidel, all these people, Dr. Bidel, they are all doing pretty good. So I can say for a fact that I'm not sure there will be a really strong ANC national chapter without the support of our diaspora base. So yes, I can say for a fact that they have a very strong arm of our movement.
Okay, let me sound a little bit ridiculous here to my man Dulake. He's always here. I did hear what ordinary people paying $100 for the ticket. They are category of tickets to get this process. Because if you asking me or if you asking the ordinary, they want to know how much you who get a party, you who support the party, how much is being paid. Is the member here is there some sort of taxation here to make sure you catch up with the figure of 100 grand that you want to raise, or what?
So I would like Naomi to speak to you, but let me just throw in something just before she can come through. When the 100,000 ceiling or target was pronounced by the chair of the Western region, you were like, given the explanatory nature of politicking in Liberia, it was too small an amount, Mr. So that was your position. But we were very realistic And that's how we want to govern Liberia. We were very measured, and we took into consideration some of the hiccups. We are today is a 7, so you can calculate how many more days to Christmas, and you can interpret the burden that will shift on Liberians in the diaspora from Liberia. So then, plus their own responsibility. So you have to be measured so that the people you can understand that indeed this thing can work, and that is how this 100,000 target was arrived to. But Madam Washington can take it from that perspective.
And to add to the conversation, yes, we did tax members of our committee. We have a big committee consisting of at least about 20 persons. So we tax the committee members amount to help with that, to meet our fundraiser goal. And we're targeting different areas: sponsorships, community members, advertisement via ads in our souvenir booklet, perhaps some raffle drawing. And we're just going to do a fundraiser that night. So we're doing different creative ways to come up with that amount.
Okay, good. And I believe there's an interaction part there where it's a town hall. People who are listening that the election will not be held in America here, and people are saying town hall. Let's talk, yeah, boy. Let me bring you into that. What is in the mind of the ANC? What are they trying to twist here? You're going to be having a time up, and I got you because the diaspora community is a very greater component here. But will it be a town hall that will be open to ordinary Liberian people, even that disagree with ANC, not that sort of selective member, well, maybe not an ANC, because that's how the politics in Liberia looks like now. People are easily identified, oh, he's not one of us. And we're seeing that happening most of the time, even when you invite some of these people to come and say, oh, well, that man, he's not part of all. You go there, you're going in the lion den and all of that. So their town hall here, will people's fingers be shut down, or will Liberians be allowed to raise their finger to ask these burning questions to your political leader?
So, Mr. So, I would tell you this, right? You know, I used to be director of communications when I first joined Mr. Kumi's office. So, from our communications background, usually when we organize press conferences, in order to control the press conference, we will identify certain individuals who will ask questions, right? So on the first press conference, I sort of tried to do that. Well, successfully. The second one, not so successful. So the third one, Mr. Kumis called me and said, Moaba, are we trying to get me on script here, or you want the people to actually ask questions that are burning to them so that I can address the questions? What are you doing? As an old chief, it's just my training. I have to ensure that I protect the press conference and protect you. As you say, okay, I understand that. But going forward, let the people speak out. Let me understand what they truly are thinking. Let them speak out, right? So going back to your town hall, we expect that the town will be attended by even citizens, more citizens. Mr. Cummings has a certain message about changing the narrative of our country that he believes that no one should suppress and that nobody should micromanage. People should have the opportunity to ask the burning questions that bother them, and then he will address himself to these questions. He's a man who is very comfortable in his skin. If you meet Mr. Cummings, he will tell you he knows what he knows and he knows what he doesn't know. So from that story, you know he's comfortable. He doesn't have to, over-interpret anybody. He knows exactly what he knows, and he knows to the extent of his knowledge what he doesn't know. So he's comfortable. So the town hall, we expect that there will be diverse, participation from people from different political orientations. We expect that those who are still, not decided on which way to lean, they can come listen to him, and from there, decide that they will support his bid for president, because he will tell you from time to time the tent is so huge enough that we all can come together. There are most seats on the table. In fact, if you come to the table, there are no seats. Go and pull a chair right to the table and sit on the table, because we all have to come together to fix our country. We can't allow another 6 years of what is happening to continue to happen. We can't allow it to happen unchecked. It has to stop. And this one stops when we all come together collectively to fix our country. That is why some of us have sacrificed everything. I run a business. Dulake knows about that. I've been attacked by the citizen government several times. But I'm still here. I still believe that Mr. Weah and his cabal of thieves are the wrong choice of our country. We can't allow them to have another 6 years. Otherwise, there will be no country called Liberia. I'm maintain that. They've attacked me, but I'm still here because I believe that Mr. Cummings has the roadmap to fixing our country. He will tell you the first 100 days, these are the things he will do, low-hanging fruits. He will tell you the next 6 months, these are the things he will do. And he has the practical steps in achieving them. He's done them before in very big companies. So it's not a strange thing. It's not a new terrain for him. It's not an uncharted territory for him. He's been in complex environments before, where he's even been a minority in these groups, and he's thrived in these groups. So we expect that the time will be interactive. We're not going to silence anybody. It's not going to be censored. Everybody's going to speak freely, and we hope that at the end of that meeting, which we hope will have maximum publicity, more and more people will begin to see that Mr. Cummings is the only alternative to begin to change the narrative back home, to begin to give hope to many Liberians who are here, who want to invest in Liberia but can't because the environment climate is not safe for them. Even my story I'm saying now, right? Some Liberians who actually want to invest be like, oh, wow, the young man is doing his business only because he believes that Cummings should be the president. He's been attacked. That alone is a deterrent for anybody to go invest that money in Liberia. So that has to change. People have to disagree politically and still be given a space to achieve the full potential of their capacity. That has to happen. So we expect that the panel will be interactive. We're not going to censor anybody. Mr. Cummings would not let that to happen, because that's not who he is. So I don't expect anything different.
Let's take a quick break so you guys will get a quick glass of water, and we'll be right back. I am Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio.
There are 5 priorities we have, and we call that the what's. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, is electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people.
Okay, but we want to welcome our guests here tonight. This is a special edition here. So we are in conversations with officials, organizers of ANC Global, big fundraisers expected in the liberal states of California, specifically Sacramento. Madam Washington is here, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Yobot, and of course our own LPR Dolake. They are all here this evening here. There seems to be a brighter day for someone to get involved into something like you guys are doing. Madam Washington, coming to you. There seems to be a brighter day ahead because raising this money, it seems that you are getting green light, feeling comfortable where your leaders stand with respect to the pending elections. How long do you intend to go with this? With this fundraiser, are you feeling good where your political leader stands in this political process in Liberia, for which is a consistent fundraiser to support his political ambitions is taking place? How long do you intend to go with this?
Well, I would answer, I was speaking to someone earlier today, and it told me that, you're wasting your time. Weah is going to win. He's going to go second term. Of course, he's a sedition. Weah is going to go second term. So my response to that person was that not working and not trying is not an option. Like us sitting back and thinking, Weah is going to win, so we're not going to try. Or if Boaka is going to win, we're not going to try. That's not an option. We we're not going to give up. We're going to go all the way. We're going to support Mr. Cummings. We've been in this since 2015. And because we believe in him, we believe that he's the person to transform Liberia and to be able to give our children food to eat again and put them in school and give our elder, just good retirement. We believe in him. So we cannot give up. So we'll go as far as we can, as long as it takes, to get Mr. Cummings in office, to get the message to the Liberian people all across Liberia, in the diaspora, to let them know that, this man is the man to change Liberia, and the change is what we need to move forward in Liberia. So to answer your question, we're not giving up.
Not giving up. Let me bring the Deputy Chief of Staff into this phrase here, because he is in Liberia, battleground. This is where the real political action will take place. And we sit behind the microphone sometimes, people from white mainland, black mainland, blue mainland, they send messages, try to bring in stories or their own perception here. They're saying here ANC is really strong in the diaspora outside of Liberia, but there's still an apprehension as to whether they are solidified their political strength in the country and not just in Mauserato. Let's start your word. Let me ask you, do you think with all of the support, and I know that money can help to enhance your message, how strong is ANC? Let's temporarily put Mauserato aside and look at the rest of the 14 political subdivisions. Yes, to admit, fair to mention, I've been seeing images going to other counties, other places here. But do you think the ANC has expanded its strength throughout the length and breadth of the country to compete in this coming election?
So one thing that is a factual statement, Mr. So, is that the ANC of 2017 is not the ANC of 2022, and certainly will not be the ANC of 2023. It's becoming increasingly clear that Mr. Cummings is the only option for a better Liberia. Increasingly. This morning, I was chatting with a colleague who wasn't sure that Mr. Cummings would be president. He wasn't sure at all. Like, whenever I brought the conversation out, he just shut me down. Summarily. So we're chatting this morning. I said, when or if Mr. Cummings become president? So he said, Moba, at this point, I think it's becoming a matter of when. That was his response to me. So I like, bro, what's going on? He said, Moba, honestly, I've had conversations with people and nobody seems to disagree with the Cummings presidency. They're just looking forward to seeing how much he has judged himself. So yeah, he's right. And Mr. Cummings acknowledges that in order to win election, he has to work faster than the other people, harder than the other people. He has to sleep less than the other people. He knows that. And we all know that. All of us that are with him, we know that we have to do more than what the others are doing. We have to run faster. We have to go higher. We have to sleep far less than the others are sleeping in order to beat them. So yes, our base on the ground is expanding exponentially. We are having more young people coming within our fold because they believe that Mr. Cummings prioritizes young people. Look at Mr. Cummings' office structure. His chief of staff is barely 35 years old. I'm the deputy chief of staff. I'm barely 40. Mobile Cassidy is administrative assistant. So he's demonstrated that young people who make up more than 60% of our population, if Liberia has to change, programs to bring young people, right, into governance, not into government, or into governance, right, have to be prioritized. These programs have absolutely got to be prioritized. So he's demonstrating that even without being president. So like Ms. Washington said, when you're asking about the finances and about accountability and everything, she told you we're already running our party like we run the government. So when we say we're accountable to the people, we have to demonstrate that we're accountable as an institution before we even, take that to the larger stage running the country. So our opponents will have you to believe that the ANC is still at 7%. And usually I don't argue with them much because I know the work we're doing. I know the time we're putting in. I don't get complacent with the results we're getting, but I feel motivated that our message is resonating. Day by day, more and more people are beginning to ask more questions. And we're on the front line to answer these questions. Mr. Cummings himself, and you admitted to that. We go in the counties. We go Maigibi, we're in Bomi County the other day, we're in Cape Mount, we're in Bapolu. Mauserato, we started a tour already. We're in District 1, District 4, 6, Day 17, a Sunday before I came. So we're doing everything Mr. Cummings will be a face that everybody will recognize. Not that people say the man is stranger. That argument already done, Alfonso. You already know that one. We know our opponents who say the man is stranger. So that argument by already there. The stranger, the man, since Mr. Cummings lost the election 2017, he has never been on a library for more than 15 days. He's never. He has never.
So there seems to be a great deal of lesson being learned from.
Not more than 48 days.
Yeah, I won't say that other one. Mr. So no, I go with that other one there.
Okay.
He has never. So this man who was being Liberia since 2017 for not more than the only time he's been on Liberia for I think 15 days when he had to leave the court process on go to visit his ailing mother. You remember Mr. So? His mother was sick. Beautiful, yeah. He had to go there and then he had a board meeting to attend. I think he went by 11, 12, 13 days or so. And then he had to come back home. So he's always been in Liberia. So the argument that he's a stranger, thankfully that argument has been defeated. So now the argument is he ain't got base. No problem. We are trying to pay our base. Day by day, we are expanding. We are bringing more people to our fold. And we're telling them the reason why we want them with us. And they feel so part of us. We're not imposing on anybody. We open the space. We tell them there are opportunities to grow in this country. And it begins with us coming together collectively. So we are doing well. And it is a factual statement from on ground. You know, our opponents will tell you that we're doing nothing. In fact, if the elections were held today, we'll have only 2 votes. Good for them. But we know what we're doing. And we're not complacent. We still keep pushing.
Is there anything to deter you from outside of the ANC bill with Madam Washington? I understand that there were a lot of officials to names, state officials, other people. He having these conference. What is the purpose of that? Soliciting support, explaining Liberia's problem, his political interest, and why he should be president. Are those arguments he's making?
Yes, well, at the meeting on Friday, like I stated, is a meeting to discuss, build a conversation with our friends in America, in the United States, talk about trade and commerce and also relationship building. As we know, we have a strong standing relationship with the United States, and being a president of Liberia, I want to continue to nurture that relationship, So therefore, Mr. Cummings would be future with those people, with those leaders in the United States to build relationship and as an opportunity for trade and commerce in the future when he becomes president.
Have you had all of the conversation needed too? It might sound a little bit ridiculous because for the most part, I've seen our politicians being recycled, remaking from one place to another. Oh, knowing what I know. Have you asked all of the questions needed to be asked, Madam Washington, before getting yourself into this solid and wholly option? Everything been put to rest that you are putting yourself on the line for Mr. Cummings?
Yes. As a matter of fact, this is actually in 2015 is my first political involvement. And I got involved with Mr. Cummings because I believe in his background, his experience, and his credential. We talk about not having a system in Liberia, constantly. Well, we don't have a system. The difference between Liberia and America, like America has a system, Liberia doesn't have a system. Well, here we are. We have a person who has worked in a system for over 20 years. Who have managed, billions of dollars, who have managed and supervised thousands of people. So, I mean, after looking at his background, his credential, what's there to him? What's there not to follow? What's there not to believe in? As Mr. Cummings always says, the best predictor of future performances is past performance. So, I mean, and we live in America. Over here, when we go to buy cars, when we go to buy houses, they run our credit. If our credit score is good, they give us those things based on our credit score. Mr. Cummings has good credit. He has good background. So the fact that he has done well in his life, politically, I mean, systematically, he has done well with his career. It just shows that it's a strong possibility that he would do well continuing in the future. So that's why I chose to follow him, because I follow Mr. Cummings also because that's how I make decisions in my life. I look at the past and I look at the history and see, okay, this person has done well in this area. So therefore, I can rest assured and take chances that he will do the same in the future. So that's why I follow Mr. Cummings, if that answers your question, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a very persuasive way of selling people, but sometimes it's a little bit disturbing. Mr. Yoba, Mr. Yoba, I see you.
I wanted
I
to come
guess.
in quickly.
Yeah.
Nauri has an emergency on the same program, and she had written it, but I think we need to give her an excuse, and Yoba, I can remain for now because it's urgent. I don't know what, but it's to you.
No. I mean, she's a liberty. We're not going to post. I kind of live. I mean, we are already getting to the time here. But before she leave, I mean, she as the chair here, maybe she wants to say a word or two to the listening public. Get why she's here tonight and perhaps what she needs from them. So yeah, you can make that quick closing statement before you leave.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Dolake. Thank you, Mr. Soul, for having us this evening. Thanks to LPR for having us. We appreciate it. This whole event this weekend is about promoting Mr. Cummings, but more so and more importantly, it's about Liberia first. And that is the slogan that we're pushing this weekend. Liberia first, Liberia deserves better. So as we make our decisions as Liberians, we need to dig deep, not just be vindictive or be personal. It's about Liberia. It's about the children who are not eating, the children who are not going to school, the market women. It's about Liberia. Let's put Liberia first. Let's think outside of the box and look at the person who can really run Liberia to transform that country. Let's put our personal differences aside and put Liberia first. This weekend, I invite you, if you're in Sacramento, if you're in the Bay Area, please come and listen to Mr. Cummings. Hear him for yourself. Ask him the question. He's going to be available. He likes to talk. He likes to share information. He's a casual guy. So come and talk to him. Come and listen to him. Saturday is the fundraiser. It's $100 for general admission. And we have other packages available. If you cannot make it, if you cannot afford $100, we want to welcome you to Sunday. Sunday is a free event. It's going to be at the Friends in Covenant. It's a Liberian Community Church. Pastor Tim Mula is hosting us. So we invite you to come and listen to Mr. Cummings, share his idea, and let him listen to you as well. I want to thank you again for having us. And I look forward to more conversations in the future. Good evening.
All right, Madam Washington, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful evening with us. Okay, now the trouble is on you guys, Mr. Yobo and Durake. The trouble is on you now. We are already running out of time. I did hear her saying, come in here, comments. Comment has been speaking, to Yobo, you within his proximity. What will he be saying at this time that he have not said before? What you think? What he still have?
Let me take a shot at that. And Mr. Soul, the problems of our country are the same all across the counties. If you went to Grand Cape Mountain, and I gave an example, and I went with Mr. Cummings to Grand Cape Mountain County. We went to Sinjay. We went to King Jaw, right? That's where the cooperations is, right? King Jaw. We went to Go Camp. Went to several other. I think we toured about 20 towns and villages in Grand Cape Mountain. That was when Simeon Taylor, then member of the ANC, had his thank you tour. Mr. Cummings was on that tour with him. I was on a tour as director of communications then. And each time we went from a village or a town to another, what I noticed was the problems were the same. No hospital, no clinic, or generally no healthcare facility, more generally. No schools for children. The nearest school will be an hour or 2 hours walk, for children. So children have to commute 2 hours to walk to go to school and 2 hours back. No safe drinking water. So the problems were the same from town to town, from village to village. And then we go to Bomi County, went to Gogan, the same thing. We go to Cotton Tree in Makibi County, the same thing. So the problems are linear. They are the same problems across the entire country. So any message that a leader who is aspiring to lead change, genuine change, that message has to be as consistent as the problems are linear in our country. If you say you're going to improve the healthcare delivery system, that message have to be, no matter how repetitive that message is, to the extent of the validity of that message, you have to keep saying it. People have to know that you mean what you're saying by saying it when you're waking up from sleep 12 midnight. That you can keep saying that same thing. It says how genuine you are about tackling that particular issue. If you say you're working on agriculture to improve inputs, right? Improve farming methods, thereby, improving yields, produce, you have to say that from time to time and across every platform you have the opportunity to say. So Mr. Cummings will continue to say what he thinks is the best for our country. New things may be introduced if questions are asked about some specifics. For example, if he says you want to build a budget, and he will be asked, what are your plans to improve the budget for where it is right now? He will get into the details of these things. For example, he will speak to cutting down cost. He will speak to cutting down waste in government, that is curbing corruption. He will speak to issue of value for dollar so that we get more value for each dollar we spend. Generally start to cutting down waste. So he will give the details of these things. But of course, there will come a time when all of these manifestos will be condensed, concised, and given to our people. So yes, new things will be introduced, but the very things we've been saying all across our tours to the Liberian people, how we tend to tackle corruption, how we tend to reduce infant mortality, how we tend to build more schools, how we tend to improve farm-to-market roads, how we tend to build a very strong civil service so that take-home pay can actually take people home, bring decency in public service. All these things, we'll keep saying them from time to time because we mean these things. Mr. Cummings means these things. These are the things you want to tackle head on to ensure that our country begins to experience a different kind of leadership that is never experienced before.
Okay. Deloke, I guess you have a laundry you want to add out to it already.
Firstly, Yaba said it all. The issues Liberia is confronted with, they are unchanging. In fact, what is happening to it is that they are adding on self-created. So we already have struggled for rights in 1979. We've never solved that problem since 1979 to 2022 or 2017. Our government came into place, told us nothing, have done nothing about it. And then that government comes to take 11 million, one ton sum of 11 million, steal it, and increase the price of rice. So the narrative will keep saying that we need to go to Maganda's farming in the immediate. In the immediate, we need to go to Maganda's farming in the future. And in the immediate, we need to have for accountability of money that we are putting into subsidy. So I would like to say that the way you saw or the way we have seen Christianity, and I'm not comparing Mr. Cummings to God because he doesn't reach close to God, but the way Christianity works or Islam works, it is because a group of people had an explicit confidence and belief that God exists, and he have instructed them based on their relationship with God and the first associated with God, creation of the eye, and they were adamant in their days of old, even to the extent that people who were Pharisees did not believe. Today, people believe it. Today, you have huge population of Muslim and Christian. This message of the ANC, the CPP, and Mr. Cummings have been resonating with Liberians, and Liberians have reached to the point that indeed Mr. Cummings' statement about unemployment is realistic, and the only thing that can solve it is to take away waste from government, is to stop the stealing and corruption, is to making sure that you put resources to where you can have it multiply. Mr. Cummings' statement about unemployable young people, that means you don't get qualification. How can we put these people to become, how can we make them to become employable? He drives that thought towards the sciences, and he keeps stressing, which is realistic. We like it, we should require blood. But in Liberia, continue to study accounting, and they can't study electricity. They can't get they don't have huge amount of people going to geologists. Indeed, a Ghanaian will come and take the job when the economy open. That is how you get your people to be employable than being unemployable.
Okay.
So those are realistic measures that we are dealing with. And with time again, people will come to realize it, and they will understand that this man is the man that has Liberian people in the diaspora ready, because they have observed system, and they believe in one of the kind who have demonstrated system, and they will support him with all the financial, with all the widow's might, in order for him to succeed against a president who has the money bag of the country, and this is the only man who can challenge that man that got the money bag.
Okay. Our next group of contributors on our regular, you can stay, but let's allow Mr. Yobot to make his final statement, and then we can allow if you still want to hang out, you know the tradition here, and he can do it. So, Mr. Yobot, hopefully this now will be the last time having this conversation. Probably we'll see after everything. Hopefully, you can make time for us here, where we're going to talk a high ball politics, not fundraiser. There are a lot of questions needs to be asked. We're going to work behind the scene on that. But as we take leave of you tonight, people are listening. And like you said, a young person behind this guy, putting all we have seen, a lot you've been going through for yourself. Here you are here again. What is the core message you want people to understand, to get that they have not received about Cummings in a minute 30 seconds, if you can do that for us? Unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Like you said, I'm hoping that we come here and talk some hardball politics, not fundraiser, not that gala.
Yeah.
Certainly not your service on Sunday. But yeah, I'd like to tell our listeners, our viewers, that our country has been through a lot. And I'm usually very generous to the conversation when I say that this is not a judge we are making, right? We are not responsible for the thing that have befallen our entire country for the last 170 plus years. I'm not faulting him for that. But his fault is that he took over a country under the guise, I'm using this word very carefully, under the guise of bringing change to the country, to improving the living condition of the people. But unfortunately, the only thing that has improved is the life of Mr. Weir and his closest confidants. It's evident. He took them out of the country for more than 40 days. They went on a safari. If this is not reason enough for you Liberians to know that this man does not want to be president, then I don't know what other thing you want him to do. Now, I keep telling people two things. Either Mr. Weir does not want to be president anymore, or number two, he knows exactly what he's doing. Or three, it's a combination of both. I don't know which is which at this point. Either he doesn't want to be president, or he knows that he's woefully failing and he's enjoying it, or he's just blaming the two of them. But in any case, this is clearly not the man we want to continue to lead our country. This is not the man. Now, before our two panelists got on, Ms. Washington was just here. She had to leave to attend another function. She said something very important. She said, and Mr. Cummings will always tell you this: the best predictor of future performance is past performance. What you do in the past and what you do currently is the very good indication of what you do in the future. Mr. Cummings has demonstrated over the last 40 years that he's able to work in a compound complex environment and survive and come out of there and skate, come out of there with no blemish. He has been audited, passed all his audit flying colors. He's presided over a multi-billion dollar company with no fault. He retired honorably. He has investments. He's a man who has managed his family life, both personal life and family life, and professional and business life. And you can see that there is clear evidence that he's managed himself very well. So to give your country to this man to run, you should be very well assured that he's not going to do anything differently. He's going to do exactly what he's done in his personal life for the last 66 years or so. By the way, I want to wish Mr. Cummings a very happy birthday. Today's his birthday. He turned 66 today. And I hope, Mr. So, you did that before the beginning of this program. I joined you a few minutes into the program. But I'd like to tell your listeners that Mr. Cummings represents the vast generality of the Liberian people who believe that our country has suffered too much and that we begin to have new conversations about giving hope to the young people. Also, you're in Liberia. I believe you were in communities where you saw disadvantaged young people. That population is growing exponentially. Exponentially. Tell me, where would that population be in the next 5 years, 10 years? And with no serious plans to halt that process, to arrest the process of the multiplication of these young people that are coming up with no future. In the next 10 to 20 years, we'll have a country whose population will be up to 20-30% of disadvantaged young people. That in itself is a national security issue. So these issues have to be addressed, and we believe that Mr. Cummings has the wherewithal to begin to have these conversations. And that's why this gala we're having in California this weekend, having meetings with friends of Liberia, we're establishing new relationships so that we can fix these problems heads or at least begin to address these problems. We can't fix all, in one turn. Mr. Cummings is not giving anybody that impression that you're beginning to make Liberia and New York in 6 years. It's not. I believe 20 years is not enough. But at least we need to have a starting point where we can begin to build on from time to time until we begin to change our own story as a country. So thank you for hosting me. I have to rest. It's been a long flying all over the place.
I know.
Let me get some more sleep, and please let's play something where we can come and talk hardcore politics.
Definitely. That's the road to the White House too of Liberia. So forget it. You won't even fly here, man. When you're in the beginning, now you start flying. Okay.
Yeah. So we have to be working. We have to be working. So I'm sorry I won't be here, Dr. Gweb, Ms. Balaya. I'm sorry I won't be here, but I'm hoping that we can all connect another time on this show.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, well, I'm Alfonso Z and so of the Liberia Public Radio. The panelists are here to talk some power. Okay, guys, good evening. Good to see you. Today is today Wednesday?
Already.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you so much for being here and joining us here. Dr. Boyd, good to have you here. Our own Koto, Dolake, good to be here. Okay, today is all things considered, so we try to do it differently here. You guys have a political pick. You have a guy, you have a person you want to be president. She also get her own pick. Dolake, I need not to say that. Let's hold ourselves accountable here this evening here. And in the Liberian contest, ladies before gentlemen, Dolake, don't get jealous. They are our queen on this network, so we got to treat them. So let's start with who wants to go first? I don't want to be Dr. Goy, you want to go first?
I want to defer to Miss Cotto, please.
Cotto, to put you on the spot now. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Okay, so there are a couple of things we're going to be saying here. We all listened to the chief of staff, and there was a response from the committee here. But let's start first. Maybe let's reiterate that. Who do you support, Cotto, for 2023?
Right. Good evening to all here right now. Dr. Guet Tarankat and my brother Doloke and the host, Mr. Soul. I want to say thank you guys for being in your midst. It's a pleasure of me being here. And I want to speak to our people, our Liberians in Liberia and all around the world. I'm glad to be here to discuss the issue of Liberia today, a beloved country. It is a serious, question, and sometimes I'm kind of caught between the scissors in answering this question because I still think that there is some negotiation or there is still a chance of something occurring. My two favorite candidates, JNB, who is the Barca, our old man, Barca, and the second person is Cummings. And my advocacy.
Wait a minute, Cotto. You're starting trouble here. You
I
got
started trouble. You know I'm a troublemaker, so just let it flow.
Okay.
Just let it flow. Yeah. I have been advocating, and I would never I would never stop the advocacy until the day to the pool, when there is no way or the other one, two of them should have, I selected their VP to run with them. But until then, those are my two candidates that I still have on mind. And saying it, Barca go as president and Cummings goes as VP. And
I wish you luck.
I wish you luck. Until I said Cummings said he didn't want to say it to tell Todman until you die. And he said until. So I don't want to be caught like that. So I look up to them until they should have, selected their running mates that I know that I've given up. I still
Quickly, let me just get something before I bring in Dr. Taranka here. The reason you see the billboard with by Cummings picture here is because of the airtime they asked for. So we don't want people to leave here. Oh, LPR, they see the Cummings picture will be now. LPR are Cummings. No.
Exactly, you know that.
Yeah. So I'm just telling them that, I'm not going to erase people's perception, their thinking. It was paid for to hold them here, and we will be carrying some coverage event. Just how any other political party or organization group asks to do a service for them, we have the conversation, we talk the business, we move on. People, when they get all your phone line will be black. So before they come here, we'll make sure they're what we're supposed to get from them first. I just want to make that clear. Okay, so Dr. Taranka, good to have you here. Good to be back here tonight. There was a miscommunication. I'm quite sure that's why I got this whole thing about here. But you also have a political pick in. You also have an interest in what is going on in Liberia.
Yes.
And you will support individual. I would like it to come from the house's mouth and why you are supporting that person, why you see this person to be fit to be the president of the Republic of Liberia, based on what?
First, I want to say thank you again for allowing me to come in and for my voice to be heard. I want to thank all of the panelists who are going to be sharing their voices, and Ms. Cotto get a genuine lawyer answer. That's what a lawyer would say. When they ask us a question, we say it depends. But on a serious note, I am supportive of Magdala Cooper. I met Magdala, and right off the bat, I was impressed with her mindset of progressiveness. The progressive nature, because we are now in the 21st century. A lot of countries, even the smaller countries, are moving forward into the technological world, into the educational world, and that is how we are empowering our young people to take over government. Liberia endured a civil war that was traumatic, and for at the very least 2 decades, the young people in the 2 decades had not had access to the kind of education that would have prepared them. And her mindset is we should begin to now put back into the young people by educating them. progression, her platform had always been this current government is in regression or retrogression. And she's saying that to say, when you look at Liberia and some of the programs and strategies that all of the rest of the world is operating on, we are operating on an archaic platform as a country. And I was impressed with the fact that she's able to articulate the fact that the need for Liberia to begin to progress into the world, to educate and prepare their people, to have and another thing that impressed me with her is the fact that she has a plan. When there is no plan, the Bible says where the people lack a vision, they will perish. When there is no plan, she has a plan for the people. She articulates the plan well enough. It's not about who has had the most experience, been there in government long enough, because if you've been there long enough, your record should speak for itself. We should be able to go and see how have you voted on policies? What kind of policies do you strategically stand on? So I don't believe in supporting anyone because they've had time in government.
Yeah, duration in government.
Duration in government. And not to say that they are not qualified. I'm not saying that at the least. I'm saying that it is high time that we begin to put in people, a person like Magdala Cooper, who has a plan for the country to progress the country rather than regress the country as we have been going. And that's one of the reasons why. The last reason I was quite impressed at the fact that it didn't need to take election or her ambition to become a president to give back to her people. She started giving back over 12 or so years ago. She has built schools. She is educating people. She's implementing STEM's program. I always first believed that a leader should learn how to serve. And what she has done in the past is serve. Now, in order to lead effectively, because she has served in a capacity of helping the people and have the people's interests at heart, she is going to make an effective leader. She didn't just come up and say, oh, I want to be president because I have an education. That wouldn't have just worked, but she has been a servant, and a servant makes a great leader. And that is the reason why I have put my support behind her, and I'm speaking out publicly because the platform she stands on is solid.
Okay, solid. Who are we to break that solid ground here? But if I go on the other side, definitely I'm going to be hearing something on the contrary because they have their own position. And the second phase of the question that was pinged around the room with what possibly is the path to presidency. Let me bring in Jonathan Dulake, is the senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio. Edmund George as well. Gentlemen, welcome. Both of you guys together because you share the same political ideology. It's not that I'm putting you guys aside here, but maybe you can share a note on your end. Amos Joy, from time to time, you've been a supporter, sympathizer. I'm not sure whether you're a car member holder of ANC. What is the criteria what was the only criteria regarding to you taking Ghana Cummins to be someone that you think is alternative to Liberia? Why? Why are you putting yourself in the face of the public to support Mr. Cummins?
Good evening, ladies and Jonathan. How you doing?
Fine.
I'm sorry for being late. I just came from Abuja, so I hope you bear with me. You could bear with me.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I want to see some governor in Abuja to raise some money.
You trying to bring in foreign money into our election?
That's the way to do it. Raise some money. You got to raise money. Hey.
All right. Whatever. Go ahead.
Let me say this. I support somebody who has the vision, the capacity, the ability to deliver. And I think Mr. Cummins is one of those individuals. And he has the moral character to go on like Liberia. He has worked all throughout his life. And if you try to The guy said, what the guy said, if you want to know somebody, give them power. He had been in position of trust before in the private sectors. And you can trace his record from there. And that same energy is what he wants to transfer to Liberia. So based on the issue, that's why I decided to say I will support Mr. Cummings. And even since he's been in Liberia, you see what he has done there. To be honest, since Mr. Cummings went to Liberia, he had changed the way political parties have been behaving. You know, I used to see people going community to approach people, tell them to vote, to ask them to vote. If you check from 2000, it was Mr. Cummings who decided to take politics directly to the people, engaging them one-on-one. He was the one that introduced that style of politics in Liberia, to go into community, to listen to the people. So those are attributes of Mr. Cummings that attracted me to him. And I sure Mr. Cummings will be the president of Liberia.
And I'm sure. Let's add to the trouble water, and then we'll spin with the second question before we go to our other issues we have to discuss here.
There's some noise in the background, so there's some.
Yeah. Is there anybody having like a device on? I'm hearing a little.
There's some echo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but if you have a device.
We have earpiece on. That's when that sound comes. Is somebody having an earpiece on? Probably.
Okay, I think the quiet one. Okay, so Dolake, let's come to you. I know it will sound crazy. Let me see. I'm not sure where is it coming from. Let me do it like this. Let me do it like this. Okay, are you guys still hearing it?
No.
Okay, all right. So then maybe I'll just be doing. Okay, so Dolake, I know it would be insane to ask you why. Comment. What have we not heard from you, or what we don't know about Cummings for which you're still in the face of the public for Cummings to be the next president?
You know, Mr. Cummings coming to the ANC, some would describe it as a serendipity, some would describe it as a coincidence of nature bounding itself together. And Mr. George said it rightly. Mr. Cummings, as a presidential candidate, had been one of the only person who had availed himself to community scrutiny because he has nothing to hide. And it is a coincidence because when we were forming ANC 2012, when I resigned from Unity Party, when I resigned and led people like the likes of Henry Costa and spoke on their behalf that were leaving for Unity Party, others were leaving for CDC, others were leaving for MPC. We said, gentlemen, we can do this thing again. Gentlemen, we can make the thing work. Other people say, we ain't got money, how the thing will work. We said that human being make money. That human being makes money. And so because human being makes money, ideas and innovation and creativity can make money. And so we started moving from communities to community, from Rock Spring Valley, around Jalata, to Satan, to Cinco, to Tuporo, to Ghanasville. And so when Mr. Cummings was studying the different political parties, he noticed that this is the only party that would say in her formation that it needed no political leader, no standard bearer. Because the party wanted to grow stronger than any individual. And so he felt that this is the kind of party that I can find myself in. And that's how he came on board. And since then, he has been consistently engaging. But let me give you a quick development to show leadership. Mr. Cummings has said that all opposition political parties, he will collaborate with them on common fronts of national interest, be it censor, be it biometric, be it right subsidy, and the rest of the things. As we speak now, those of you that have been asking questions, why the United Party, we can just have the things amalgamated. Information that we have just received states clearly how others are trying to undercut the collaboration of ideas, not just joining party, but collaborating on the front of policy. Our dear brothers in the Unity Party called a collaboration meeting. And that meeting, it was meant to collaborate on various issues of national concern. When they put out a press release, why they listed ANC, several other political parties, but they listed CPP. In my mind, I would believe that it is Liberty Party and ANC making CPP. Then they went further again, they listed Liberty Party. There's a reason why they listed Liberty Party all by itself, when Liberty Party is already in CPP. So they are saying that maybe if Madam Yombli Kanga had a representative there, that person our Liberty Party. The Liberty Party had officially responded without hesitation to that press release that they understanding that we came into it with clear intention. But for us to be sitting in a meeting represented by CPP and you call it Liberty Party, it means that when you were saying that Cummins went to Liberty Party headquarters and invited Cummins, you are just saying that because you never had a Liberty Party headquarters. On this day, December 7th, 8th, we should be doing that.
Is that a reason, Delaka? Is that a reason your support for Mr. Cummins?
No, I'm just veering to show that because Mr. Cummins is genuine and honest when you speak about collaboration upfront, when you speak about getting together, when you speak that we should have collaboration on CPP, he will be lied on that he has authored document and will be factually proven that he has not authored. So his consistency for his private sector, his realistic nature of doing things has just proven beyond bound that indeed he's the guy suited for the position. And this recent one that I just talked about has just amplified that indeed he has always been fair in accommodating his colleagues.
Okay, let's go. We'll be fair, and I think the lady's going to have an extra time because you and your ANC guy, you're put together, you're going to be having a lot of time here. But look, Koto, we must all be held accountable. Can we settle the score here once and for all to know where you stand? On one side with Kumi, on one side with Boyka here, that somebody will be scratching their head to say, well, so what is your priority?
My priority is just a human boycott.
Okay, just a human boycott. So for discussion purposes, we'll try to focus on that here. Yes. So the second phase of the conversation here will be, what is the path to the presidency? We know that the field is a crowded field. I'm wondering here, the Cummings, the boycott, the Mandela Cooper, even the Cuban president, Dr. George Weah. I'm wondering the path to presidency. What does he need to do? Does he need to collaborate with anybody?
All right, thank you, Mr. So. From the early stage, because I said the two of them, I was not able to articulate why, I selected boycott over Kumi. In politics, we have a characteristic on which we select leaders. And for me, when I select a leader, I go by these characteristics. And based on that, I have the characteristics listed, and then I check my candidate whether they have reached the benchmark that made up of these characteristics. And when I came to look at one of the characteristics, the first one was influence. For one to become a leader, you must have this influence, had to exhibit this influence over the people that you are rooting or the people that you are leading. And to show that, it's in my candidate that I favor, just like Ima Bakar, I have seen the trace in him that he has a way of influencing people. And the next thing is we have transparency. He has worked here, one of the long working term in Liberia, as we have seen. Okay, and in his whole life, I have followed his strength and path in leadership. And I have seen that no one, since I have been tracing and just checking his background, nobody have come to tell me that he was found and in a fraudulent act, or he was found in a corrupt act, and this, and other thing otherwise, And for that, it gravitated me towards him. And when we talk about transparency, it's not just government positions and things. It comes along with family. It comes along with your responsibility you have been having. This man had been having his wife for 50 years. Okay, when we talk about transparency, we look at all of the characteristics. How well he has taken care of his home. How well he has taken care of his children. There have been no time that anybody...
Does that commensurate with governance process?
Of course, if you have transparency, it should lead, your leadership should follow your domestic affairs also. Because if you are not a family caring person, you cannot take care of a country. Those are things that we don't look at. But with politicians, we look at all of these characteristics. Okay? That's why I'm saying that. And in another thing, we have, he covers and he takes risks. Okay? Taking risks is somebody telling you that you are not competent to head this organization. You are not competent to be a head or partake in an election. And he made it. And to this time, he has stayed persistent in his decision. In everything we do in life is risks. And he's still taking that risk. Okay? Then we come to value ethics. And then with value and ethics, it comes also with how you relate to your colleagues, your job you have, how well you took your job. And from what I have been observing and what I have read and what I have seen in Joseph Yuma Baka, he have articulately taken onto this ethics in his workplace. We have been seeing himself as, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Before I go to Dr. Tai Turankaye, in his own words,
yes,
he was vice president, the number 2 person.
Mhm.
And I disagree with the notion Liberians and other people argue, oh, well, vice president is a ceremonial position. No, it's not a ceremonial position. The vice president enjoys the vote of the Liberian people proportionally to that of the president. And the Constitution says the vice president should be competent in the event the president is incapacitated. The vice president, in his own word, told the Liberian people opportunities were squandered.
Okay,
I'm coming. Hold on 1 second. Opportunities were squandered. He proxied the affairs of the government, designated the president, designated him. What I'm still finding it very difficult, after the executive mentioned, we yet to get the deeper part, his role, what the president agrees with, what the president disagrees with. For example, we saw what happened here January 6th. When the president of the United States of America tries to rewrite the Constitution, calling on the vice president to twist the vote in order to get him to the president, the vice president vehemently disagreed with the president. I'm still looking to check to see what this former vice president disagreed with the president, and for which he held on. And it's unusual to see a sitting president, someone who served you for 12 years, to come back to say, I need a new generation, or that person is not raising your hand. Those are sort of legitimate concern, and I'm quite sure other Liberians also share those views. How can you defend, and how can that person can arguably defend those positions?
Thank you, Mr. So. And when you see I'm listing my characteristics, and part of the characteristics comes with that transparency. Okay? And that where the transparency come. He did not come to say, I served in the 12 years as vice president and everything was roses. Not all were roses. And there were their fault. There was some fault in the leadership. And this is why he had come to acknowledge that we were not 100% perfect in what we were doing in our leadership. There were some places that we fell short. There was some opportunity that we may have not we should have done it.
I have not heard that. Also, I have not heard that from the vice president.
Yes,
The
I heard
vice president distance himself.
Yes,
They
he
take
said,
a certain goal of Helen Johnson's leave, and
yes,
they are certain one that they disagree with. So I just don't know. Has he spoken to that in public? You think?
yes, he has spoken to that. He was interviewed, and I listened to his interview that he was asked this identical questions, and he said that there were opportunities that that we should have managed properly than the way we did it. And the fact that we did not do it exactly how it should have been, we should take the responsibility.
How can he even manage it now when he didn't manage it 12 years? Why should we give him 6 years to manage it?
For me, that way I come to selecting him because now he knows his fault. And knowing your fault, we say before you get to be a driver, you must serve as a cowboy in Liberia, we used to call it, or you serve as sitting back to the driver, then you learn how to drive, you become a good driver on that level. And that's why I think he can become the best driver now because he has sat with the best driver to drive, and now he can perform better. And that's why I have.
Let me hold you there. Dr. Toronka now is almost literally getting to faint in laughter yet. Look, Dr. Toronka, you listen to Koto, the former vice president, in his word, they squandered opportunities. Let me ask you first. Your candidate, Madam Mandela Cooper, what is a pathway to presidency? Do you think she alone, or does she need to have an alliance or form a collaboration with any political party? And you also are at liberty to speak to what Koto say. What is the pathway to Madam Cooper? Who is she considering to join to form a political alliance if she is to be the president of the Republic of Liberia? Oh, hold on. Let's see. I think check your mic.
Yes, I need it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
Madam Cooper is not looking to form an alliance with anyone in order for her to get to the presidential seat. I believe strongly she can do it on her own merits. However, I think there is a coalition of opposition that is tired of the current government, and the opposition are strongly standing on their basis, respecting each other, meeting with each other in order to be able to give the kind of support and respect for each other to push their agenda. But I think, speaking from Madam Cooper and to my own knowledge, and from speaking to her, she does not have the intentions to align with anyone, at the very least, not at this stage of the game. When the time comes, if there is a need to, then I think that's a decision she will make when it becomes necessary. However, I think the pathway that she is charting again to this presidency is what I would term a constitutional character. A constitutional character. I know Koto was speaking of character, and what the kind of characteristics she's looking for in a person that eventually should be in the high office. And as we all know, it's not just, oh, this person is nice, this person is kind. Of course, I think a leader have to have empathy for the people. But I think there is something that is designed in the constitutionality of your character, which means even your own self, your constitution must prevail over your own feelings, because this is not a personal office that you operate in a business where you can run. So the constitutional character really that Mandela Cooper possessed is that disposition to act and to motivate others to act where there becomes necessary. If you do not have that and you only appeal to a smaller sector of people, I think you're going to fail in your leadership with the people, especially one that lacks the empathy for the people. We have to be able to look at the leaders that, again, are working for the people now. And that is, again, what had impressed me. I think when she stands on her character of the Constitution, I'm going to implement the Constitution, even if it hurts me or even if I don't like whatever our framers have already created. But I have to follow the Constitution and the law. And I think that's where most of our leaders in Africa, Liberia included, we disregard what the framers of the Constitution had put down. For example, I think you sent out this piece, this video that I watched today, and I kind of wrote something that I did, where the Prince Johnson, I guess the AFL,
the chief of staff,
exactly, that was saying unequivocally that whenever the local police is overwhelmed, that he feels it necessary to bring in the National Army in order to help them, or I don't know what the terminology is. And I think very clearly that if there is no policy or there is no law that defines how the national police should act in a given situation, I think that's a very dangerous ground to arbitrarily, or at least when a situation arises, then you generate for the national police to go in and go into civilian situation or local situation, unless it is allowed by the rule of law. And I don't know if our Constitution, I haven't read the Constitution in that depth to know if it gives them that power to do so. Unless it is so, it's dangerous, because then that makes the decision discretionary, which again is dangerous when you're using discretion when you're leading people. So I think, in that state, Magdala Cooper respects the Constitution. She knows the Constitution. She wants the Constitution to be upheld. And that's where we're falling. A lot of the leaders in Liberia, in Africa, are falling because...
So, before I go to the next, you see Madam Cooper, as someone who strongly believes in the Constitution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And she, devoid of her own personal feelings or what she feels about whatever the situation is, she's standing very firmly on the Constitution. And one of the things that she is trying to push for an amendment on the Constitution is the inclusion of gender, because she's a woman who have been on the platform of inclusivity of women in the politics so that women can have voices. We are moving the stratosphere, we're moving the mantra, and women are elevated in a lot of the different places, in our society. So she's also pushing that agenda. It is not a woman issue. The high office is not a woman's place, but we had a female president in Liberia. And I think having a character, a constitutional character, is what is needed of any leader that is going to sit in the high seat of the office, not someone who's kind. In my very humble opinion, this is just an opinion, it's not a character for any candidates that's here. I believe a lot of leaders have a hint of narcissism. So we don't put in weak people or someone who's kind or someone who is going to, we don't look at those kinds of characters. When they apply business people, you look for people who are aggressive, who are vocal, who are this, and that doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to serve right. So that's why I say if you have a character of constitution, a constitutional character, you certainly will make the best leader.
Okay, you're hearing it from the House's mouth. We ourselves will be held accountable, reason why they support these candidates, because we don't want these decisions to be left. Well, one of the persons that joining this forum is our own contributor. He's also get his on a political pay. Councillor Tiawanse Gonglo is in the race. That his guy. Why is he putting himself on the line for Tiawanse Gonglo? Sister Goya is joining us from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Is a senior contributor to the Liberia Public Radio.
We got a full house tonight.
The full house is here. We're still waiting for one. I assume we're going to be having an exhibition. Exhibition will be represented in the house.
You buy that. Organato.
I can't
yeah, it's there when I talk. But anyway, this is the first time I'm on the show with with two articulate and very smart people. I'm talking about Kebe and the councillor. I'm not talking about these other two ANC people on this side. But it's nice seeing. It's nice seeing all of you. I'm just leaving my class, but I decided to pull off the road. I'm not driving. I got a cup of coffee to get involved in this conversation. But I must say that I've listened to everybody, and I think this is one of the reasons I am very hopeful. I am not cynical about the choices that Liberians are going to make in 2023. It's because when Liberians, I'm hoping, make their choice in 2023, it will not be because of a lack of a deep bench, a lack of qualified, competent people and with passion and history to serve the Liberian people. I think the Liberian people will have a chance to pick from amongst a plethora of very qualified people, and that includes the candidates that all of these my fellow analysts here are talking for. And I would say by extension that includes the president of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Weah. Having said that, though, I do think I support Tiawan Gonglo because I firmly believe that Tiawan is the one candidate who has the lived experience, has been tested, and has come out on the other side clean. And he has worked in government, but he's worked in government, and his lifestyle audit will speak to itself as one Liberian politician who has been unblemished working in government and leaving government. I also do support Tiawan because he has worked closer to the presidency, having worked as a special assistant to a president, and also have worked as a cabinet minister. So he understands the underpinning of corruption and what that means for the Liberian people. And he understands what the rule of law brings to the common person in Zolowo, in Kawieke, in Riwaji. And so I do support Tiawan Gonglo because holistically, he is the candidate that checks all of the boxes for me. And that is not to say that I don't have a soft spot for other candidates. I have been known to say that. I've been known to say that if Tiawan Gonglo were not in the race, I would critically consider Alexander B. Cummings. And if Alexander B. Cummings were not in the race, having listened to Madam Mandela Cooper the other day, I would critically consider Madam Mandela Cooper. And if I were in Liberia during the 2017 elections when things went to round 2, I would have voted Joseph Yiman Boakai into office. Because all of these people bring some level of stability, some level of poise, some level of that when you need that that person that will come, like the counselor was saying, that person that will come with their passion. I think they all bring that, but they also bring the sensitivity to understanding what our people go through on a daily basis. I do support Tiawan Gonglo because he has been one of those people, having served in government, shows the way to change government. For example, when he always talks about when he took over, there was a secret prison at the Ministry of Justice where political prisoners have been kept before in successive governments. He shut that down, right? Almost like we have our own black site for political prisoners. He closed that down, and to ensure that people have access to equity, you have to ensure that they have access to the rule of law and that justice is blind and that nobody lives below or above justice, that we all live at the same line. And in order to ensure that, he made sure that all of the county prosecutors, most of whom have been people without law degrees, that he made it a requirement that in order for you to be a county prosecutor, you should know something about the law. You should have a law degree so that you don't infringe. So that you don't infringe on the rights of people, so that you know what due process look like, so that you understand the intricacies of that. So I think we in the group that follow Tiawan Gonglo are always pushing for the rule of law, because we believe that if the law is applied consistently and clearly, without favor, without fear to everybody, then that also now works to eliminate corruption. And if you can eliminate corruption because people are afraid of being persecuted and being sent to jail and having their property seized and confiscated and auctioned, where the monies get put back into government coffers, when people see that, then what happens is you cut down on waste. It makes no sense to continue to balloon our national budget when most of it's just going to go into waste. It's almost like I got this cup, but it's leaking. I keep pouring water in it. And so when you can cut down on waste in government, which in Liberia most times is through corruption, then you can have that excess money to build more military 14 hospitals that will be up to par, so that Samuel Twerk will not have to travel to Turkey for an accident while his security guard, who is equally a Liberian citizen, has to go to military 12 hospital. So that we will ensure that people in Nimba County will not die while crossing the river. We've told these people to return to the soil. But when they return to the soil, they die while crossing a river coming from their farms. So, but because that the money has been the national bucket, the budgetary bucket is leaking in so many ways. We keep pouring these resources in there from our partners and from our own resources, and they keep leaking out into people building mausoleums for their dead mothers. While we have the blinds in Liberia, Christian Association of the Blind got robbed, and there's nothing to be done about that. And so when Tiawan Gonglo and us who follow Tiawan Gonglo say that the rule of law has to be number one, we do believe that, because when you follow the rule of law and you start to look at the educational law in Liberia that talks about access to quality education. In Liberia right now, if you live outside of Monrovia, not even outside of Monserrato, because you go to Todi, you don't even have access to qualified high schools. When you live outside of Monrovia, you are treated as less of a citizen. You don't have access to qualify quality higher education. You don't have access to qualify quality primary education. You don't have access to qualify quality secondary education. So in some sense, the fact that governments have refused to implement these laws, they are picking winners and losers. They are telling you that if you live in the villages, you are a loser.
Okay. So quickly here, the second phase here, that is your reason here. The second phase here, yes, you support this guy here, but what is his path? And I was just asking him that question. What he needs to do? Does he need any political alliance to solidify his grave? Will he do that? What is his path to this year? You have the Cuban president, very popular. You have Ambassador Boyka. You have Mr. Cummings. Gonglo. I'm not sure who want to get over the benchmark, that 51%.
So we do. So we do. Sorry for that. We do believe that there is going to be a candidate going to round two with George Weah. Because if you follow recent political history in Liberia, there's not been one person that's been able to already win first round. And so if we're going to follow that as a pattern, we do believe there's going to be an opposition political party that goes to round two with George Weah. We are confident it's going to be our guy. And you ask for the way, the path to round two or to winning. The path to winning is articulating the vision for people. What do you see? How do you hope to move this forward? And we're showing people the old map that we're sitting on to want to apply the new map. But beyond that, we are changing this around, because if you follow Councillor Gonglo, you will see that he's been going to villages that politicians have not been naturally going to. So we're expanding the vote, the electorates, reaching out to villages, asking these people who have been ostracized, who have been pushed to the sidelines of national governance and policy making, asking them what matters to them. Instead of me sitting in my comfort in Minnesota and coming up with a plan for what are things the people need in Liberia, he's going to the people in the villages and asking them what is their kitchen table issues. Because I think as we continue to do that, as we continue to bring more people into the electorates, expanding the amount of people that can vote, and getting people to have a say, understanding. You see, one thing we failed to do, when I say we, I mean all of us who have been frustrated about Liberian political system since 1985. What we have failed to do is to explain to our people that when you cast a vote, when you cast a ballot, like I listened to Jeremiah Wright not Jeremiah Wright, but the senator. I'm still happy right now. What's the new senator in Warnock? When I listened to Warnock, he talked about a vote being like a prayer. Like you are praying for something, and when you cast that vote, he said that it is like faith in action. You are telling somebody, here are my prayers. I'm believing in you to make sure that my prayer comes to fruition. And what the councilor has always said is that is like you granting somebody a power of attorney. The councilor is here, I'm sure she can appreciate that. You're telling somebody for the next 6 years You have the power of attorney to determine my livelihood, the livelihood of my children and my grandchildren. I am entrusting you with my power of attorney to determine how much food will cost on the market. I am trusting you with the power of attorney to determine that I will have more hospitals, so that if I'm not able to fly to Turkey when I get in an accident on Luffa Highway, when the paramedic is sleeping, that I will be able to have access to quality hospitals.
Let me hold you right there. Man, these guys, I think the campaign is, the gloves are off. Hey, I'm already seeing it. Let me bring in Abdulake and Mr. Amos George. And the same question, I guess Friday will be here, and before we're going to really go much deeper, maybe there will be more revelation with the chief of staff. So the video I send you guys will look at it, and then maybe there will be some other news pop up here. But Abdulake, the fee will be crowded. It is already crowded. Can Alexander Bennett McCummins with the Liberty Party for now in the interim window? We don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. You know the song, right? Say what, anything can happen. Politics is a slippery ground. I'm telling you, nothing is guaranteed in politics. Can he, Alexander Cummings, and the Liberty Party for now, can those two seal the deal up, or do they need to go extra mile to have a conversation with other political institutions for accommodation to get into the finishing line?
Thank you so very kindly. I believe that the Liberty Party and the Alternative National Congress that make up the CPP should still expand the base of the pyramid and accommodate more opposition political parties. My formula to this is that you begin the process with an open and transparent conversation. You allow every parties that want to come into the process to come to dialogue on options. So the way to start the first is to collaborate on issues of national concern or policy issue. And you know, is that you're going to tell a woman, say you want a woman, you ask her for a knee, and you know, start a little conversation here and there, and then you start getting on par. So when you start to confront the national government through your legislator, gentlemen, ANC lawmaker, today we want to find out what happened to the 11 million. You know the party, we hope you can hold your ground. ARP, hold your ground in the lower house. When we see it happening 2-3 times, with open mind and an option that either person can occupy anywhere, then you have started the sincerity and genuine move towards collaboration. That effort can be translated or converted into what now your question is as to whether the ANC or the CPP would just want to be Liberty Party and ANC or can expand further. That is what I think. But any insincerity towards that you only have a one pathway of negotiation, that Mr. Comey will be the standard bearer, nobody can be standard bearer, then it sealed the avenue for a genuine and open conversation. Okay. But while I'm discussing this quickly, I'd like to also mention quickly about this Prince Johnson. But before Prince Johnson, let me say...
Let them not mix apple with oranges. I think that Prince Johnson, that video, because of time, you're talking about the chief of staff, right?
Okay, let me leave that.
Yeah, let's leave that. I think Friday will be here and mix it with us with some other thing. I don't want us to leave it hanging and leave our listeners in doubt, because...
But let me Alfonso, is Jonathan saying that collaboration is it's something that will be effective for the different parties, or is he speaking for two political parties that are sort of closely aligned? Because
I got a point. I got a point.
I was really coming to
Right, because I don't understand exactly the point he's trying to make. That's why I'm asking.
I was clear that we will collaborate with all opposition political parties on policy issue. Then when we collaborate on that policy issue, it will serve as an impetus or as a nexus to connect our genuineness to collaborate on issues.
Like, you know, that's not a realistic approach. You know that.
So
politics, that's
are
not
you
a
saying,
realistic approach.
before I go to Amos Joy here, are you saying your party will, for example, look at the policy of Councillor Gonglo, Madam Mandela Cooper?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the national policy, 11 million were given for us to subsidize rice. Now it is $17. It might not likely be in a country. How can opposition confront the issue from the legislative standpoint? It means that we come together. The voter registration, it has been postponed. How can we come together as opposition on that policy issue?
What would be the hope to that? Because I still find it difficult to
now the hope in it is that in leadership, guys, they call win-win. Win-win is where all of us can come together on common front, and whatsoever the result will be, we divide all.
What would be the people? Okay, then let me ask you here.
If we come together, and then we notice that the executive cannot account to the opposition community or any Liberian are staying with us on the 11 million, then we all want it. We all feel winning it.
I think he's talking about
but then that means they have to collaborate on your policy, because in order
no. He's talking about a collaboration based on issues that are obtaining in the country, not on any political platform. So rice is an issue right now. And all politicians will be talking about rice, the shortages. And his point is, instead of everybody talking differently, how do we come together as a group and talk about it as one force and come up with a plan forward on how does government approach that issue?
You not even agree among yourself. Why will you go talk about rice business in the first place? I don't see that. Let me come to Amos Joy here. We are already running out of time here, but Amos Joy.
Yeah.
The question I was asking was, what his path? Mr. Cummings, with interviewing here, he has said consistently his target is the presidency. And I hope to also have at some point in time again, what could be the possible scenario that statement, if at all, because I'm trying to figure out here where the opposition, as they claim, George Weah should go. Okay, I agree he will go, but how can he leave there? You don't want to force him out here. The parties, the political party, the opposition, they are not agreeing on anything. There's a big divide within the opposition. One say, I've been vice president before, I can go as number 2. The other one say, I want to be a president, I can be number 2. Even when you call Councillor Gonglo today, Councillor Gonglo say he wants to be number 2. So I'm wondering here, where is the path? How can they get to the finishing line?
Let me say this. Every race you go in with the intention of winning. Everybody, every individual, everything you go into, go with the intention of winning.
That's right.
You would never say, I'm going to come second.
That's right.
Your goal is to come first. But sometimes conditions make you to say, okay, you know what happened? We are reaching a point, I can accept this to move forward.
What would be the example of that condition?
Hold on now. Here's the thing, no political party that we are having in Liberia, no one political party can really win 50+1 vote. But people can come to coalition based on ideologies. Most of the parties in opposition, or if you check now, most of them got the same ideologies.
That's right.
Councillor Gonko talk about fighting corruption. It is not about fighting corruption. Joseph Baga talk about fighting corruption, good governance. All these people, almost, they have similar ideologies. So the issue here now is everybody wants to be president. So if they get to the second round, or even with now, I know there are discussions going on in other quarters with other political parties. I saw a press release from the Unity Party. They listed a whole lot of parties on our press release that they are coming to Berlin to collaborate. So if people go maybe the second round or before the second round, people can say, hey, look, what is your platform? What is your platform? Look at you. I think we got maybe 75, 80% things in common. Why can't we collaborate from this point? So that can happen. So I think that is the way forward, but nobody will be honest in the mind to say any candidate right now will first round will knock George Weah off. No. It's only two persons will get to that final that stage. Maybe George Weah and another person, Alexander Cummings or Tewa Hongo or Joseph Boakai. Then after the other people can do some house trading. That is the reality. So there's no other way. Right? Nobody will come here. No politician will come here and say, hey, I can win it in upright 50+1 in Liberia at this time, and knowing the history, then of course that point is not honest. And sometimes they'll go like the issue now in Liberia. There is a cost. They can cooperate on a cost. The cost now is what? Rice, 11 million rice price going up. They can get together. That's a cost. And say, okay, look, yes, we have our differences, but this is an issue we can get together and speak.
All right.
I think that is the way.
All right. We're going to be in our final segment. I think Friday we will continue, but this is going to be the last take-home question here. And if you listen to the surrogates, the supporters, and even those who speak for the oppositions, there's one thing they have in commonalities is that they do not want this president. They want this president to be a one-term president, meaning there must be a technical knockout. He must go. That's what they are saying. If this is the basis of the opposition, let's spin this around before we go. And let us be real. Put down our political governments and look at what is happening in the country here. Dr. Taranka, do you think in order for us to avoid this sort of obituary conversation after gain of the commentary, is it better now that the opposition put together, solidify, and address these common things, or should they exhibit their political test, and if it fails, then it comes to the negotiations? If those 2 points were put on the table, what do you think Mandela Cooper will go?
I think she definitely will push her own agenda, but I agree with Amos to a large degree. When you put your bid in for president, whether or not you are your one and only agenda or the opposition all agree on, we want to make the current president a one-term president. That is an agenda that everybody is going in where we agree on it. Whatever national issues like the rice crisis, we are all agreeing that we are in a crisis. Where it becomes a bit complicated in terms of collaboration is whose view, whose plan are we going to effectuate for that problem to be fixed? And I think all of the candidates are saying the larger issue, because sometimes you have issues and then you have within the issues, you got problems. How do you solve that problem for the issue? Mandela Cooper is certainly, it's going in with the idea that I want to sit in the highest seat. And we all know the way elections work. As they are going along and you get to a place, then you are faced as a human being to make a critical decision, whether or not you're going to formulate or you're going to form with a party in order to make it stronger to move on. We see this a lot where parties, they fall off and then they join forces with other party to push the overall agenda, which is to make this president one term. But as Amos said, nobody comes into the race with the idea of I'm going to come in initially and then join forces with someone. Then don't what you do is join forces with them from the very beginning, because that shows a level of inconsistency as a leader. You either join forces with them from the beginning and you push the agenda all the way through, or when you get to the point where you have to make the decision that I cannot go further, but certainly this person's agenda aligns very closely to what I want or what I believe in, so I can throw my support behind this person so that we can go ahead and unseat the current president. She's not going to say right now, or she has not formulated in her head that she is going to be co-joining with a political party in order to effectuate that agenda, which is to make this president a one-term.
Well, you are hearing it from the house's mouth. Surrogate, perfectly articulating the agenda of the folks, which is all good here. So, Koto, let me come to you here. Do you think it will be the same question proportionally across the room? Do you think the opposition should start the conversation now or let everybody test the water?
Well, I stay in that position that they should continue the conversation. But if it feels that all of them have to go separately, then the aim would be that they go separately. And at the end of the day, there will be a need that one of the candidates win less than the 50% and more than the 30 or whatever percentage you could win more than the rest of the group. So then they will put their support behind that candidate to win. Because for what we see now, all of them have that ego. And in politics is high, especially when that ego is very high. To kind of like kind of pressure it down is kind of difficult. They all have that ego and they want to exhibit it. And that's where we find it. So until they can exhibit that ego and find their wings are broken and they cannot no longer succeed, then they should have, decide to support one of their kind. And which I think would be the best, because if you want Liberia to be better, we should not allow Josh Weir to be the next president again, because it's going to be troubling. I see some of the candidates, if my candidate does not win, they mean Josh Weir will win. Who are you harming? You harming us. Because even as we will say that we do not support the people who will go again and vote, they are our family. That's our country. Nobody going to be sitting here and feel happy the way right now we see our country going. And it's so sad. So that's why we should continue to prevail on all of our leaders. That indeed they have the ego to go alone. Yes, okay, let's go alone. But at the end of the march, let us not do the wrong thing. They did the wrong thing, let's go on election, and we have the result today. That's why we are feeling the pinch. We should never allow this to happen again.
Never allow this to happen again. I think we are getting to the point where there was an all-Liberian conference, and then the former president made a prediction. These guys will be fighting. We will not come to an understanding, and by the time they come to a settlement, I will be re-elected. Sister Goyle, you support a counselor. Do you think he should champion this cause now to bring in all of the parties? And this crazy thing is like a piece of cloth. One say it's better, the sooner the better. Some say it better late than never. And some say let's do it right now instead of tomorrow, because tomorrow is not a promising day. The clock is eating away. Time is running out. Should the opposition, like they claim, Josh Weir is a formidable candidate, regardless of what is going on now, regardless of what is happening now. There are people who have made up their mind without seeing the manifestos of these. They have not heard anything. They have not asked any question. They did not intend to ask any question, whether there's a debate, whether there's no debate. We saw that playing out. Should the opposition have a second thought now, or should they go in that rare sea first and see whether there's a shark there and somebody is going to get a political bait and come out before they come to a conference table?
So Councillor Gonglo is open to having a collaboration. We have the vice presidency open. We have cabinet positions open in a Gonglo government. We also need the advice of the old statement, my own uncle Joseph Nyimabwakai. So we have all of those. There's all of those positions are available.
Why are you talking about? You need advice?
They already got positions that they want you to fill. We got president, we got secretary, and you're not going to be president.
Mr.
Sese
So
is
he said
doing
you
this
got
thing
trouble.
on purpose to pick a quarter here this evening. He is doing this to pick a quarter here this evening.
No, my couple of my we were talking about deal of anyways. But anyways, on a serious note though, you know, it would be kind of insulting if people were to go to these candidates right now that have this vision, that have a passion. Nobody in their rightful mind just get up one morning and say, I want to be president tomorrow. It is a series of consultation. It is an expensive endeavor. You sit and talk with people. There is a lot of things involved. So for you now to go to somebody without even allowing the person to test out their strength and say, yo, come, let's have a conversation for to be my vice president, I think it's insulting. That was the reason I put that out there for people to see how absurd that would be, right? But I also want to caution the opposition. Because we are all in America, I know this will make a lot more sense to us. In Alaska, the Alaskan congressional seat that is being held by Republicans for over 50 years, a deeply Republican seat, they lost it to a Democrat because of ranked choice voting, where you pick your first choice, your second choice, and third choice.
Third choice.
Sarah Palin, the former governor of Alaska, who ran to be vice president with the late John McCain, was running. And there was another Republican running who was moderate. And then there was a Democrat. And the ranked choice voting, the Republicans said they either have the moderate Republican or they have a Democrat. And so what ended up happening was in the ranked choice voting, when they finally tabulated everything, the two Republicans lost. The Democrat won in the Republican district because the Democrats were split off. The opposition has to be very careful not to splinter ourselves to the point where George Weah emerges the winner. Another thing we also be very careful about is if you look at Arizona. Arizona was a seat, a governor position that was a freebie to the Republicans, but for the fact that they nominated a subpar candidate. Same thing happened in Georgia with Herschel Walker. So even though we want the opposition political parties to come together, we have to ensure that they are going to, at the end of the day, whoever rises to the top should be the cream of the crop that rises to the top. But that we are not here being vitriolic and being very divisive, so much so that there be bad blood rather, when the second round is scored, and then people sit on the sidelines and we become like Alaska, where this is a seat, this is a position that the opposition is supposed to win. But because we are so vitriolic, we're so corrosive in our politics, we end up breaking ourselves apart and allowing George Weah to win. Allowing President George Weah to win a second term. And so for me, I'm reminded about what happened to the Republicans in Alaska. I'm reminded about what happened to Herschel Walker and Kerry Lake. That those seats should have been Republican seats without even any contest. We don't want that to happen in Liberia. So what I would say is everybody goes and check themselves out. At the end of the day, the cream will rise to the top. And when the cream rises to the top, then we have to be able to ensure that we have not damaged the pathway so much so that people can drink that coffee that we're making. And so to that end, I will continue to say, I come on every platform, I articulate the policy of the candidate that I'm supporting. I never come here to break down other people's candidates. I joke around about my uncle Joseph Yemabuaka. He is actually my uncle. And to put it out there, full disclosure, when I ran for office here in Minnesota, Joseph Yemabuaka door knocked for me here in Minnesota. He came from Liberia and went campaigning for me here. So he is a family member. And so I respect him. But I think right now with the candidates we have in the race, I just have a different choice. I will never come here and demean him and be disrespectful to him. I do respect Mandela Cooper. I was impressed by her articulation. I like the fire she got in her belly. When she's talking to you, you can see that fire coming out, right? But for the fact that we have other candidates that I think have made my choice, that's the only reason I'm not supporting Mandela Cooper. But I respect her and I believe in some of the things that she's pushing. Same thing with Benedict Cummings. Last election, he was my guy. If Tiawan was not in the race, I would be right now sitting on a Cummings platform and talking. So I understand that all of these people bring things to the table. I will only talk about what tier one brings that benefit Liberians, not to talk about things that rip people apart and tear people apart, because that does not benefit my electorate. It does not give the Liberian people a chance to make a clear decision. And so every time I articulate about tier one Gonglo, I talk about what his visions are for Liberia versus where somebody else slept last night, or what they ate 3 days ago, or whether they're on private jet or not on private jet. For me, that is not important to the Liberian people.
Okay. Mr. George, go make your point.
Yeah, I mean, you know myself on this thing. I have said it over and over that these people should talk and come together. I said, because if these people are large, we have to go for the second time. I'm saying Liberians should run them out of that country. All of them. Because today, as we sit, there are people who sleep hungry. Someone deciding which one of the child to send to school among the children in Liberia today, tonight. So this is not a joke. This is a political feature. If these people really care about the suffering masses of the country, they have to start some engagement. They got the possibility ego aside. Because if you say that you're concerned for someone's well-being, then of course you have to let something go. And I believe they can start some conversation from somewhere. But many of sometimes, as our sister was saying, we go on the internet and we say the horrible thing about some people. And tomorrow we need some of these people. Some people go, I mean, they talk like if they say that the country belongs to men. That I'm the only guy. I don't have time for other people to talk to other people. Knowing very well that you need somebody down the line. And so that's why I always say we should have choice of word when describing our political leaders and those who tend to disagree with them. Let us have some respect for them, some civility for them. Because at the end of the day, we will need each other to move George Weah. George Weah is sitting over the country cover. He has name recognition. So you can't just get it and say you can't this guy up or yeah, we'll get it. No, you have to work for it. And to do so, it is a collective effort. I continue to say this, I'm urging these opposition people, put your act together. Tell us, surrogates or whatever. Hey, some of you cool down the language, tone it down. Because you don't know tomorrow where we find ourselves, we need people.
Are you prepared to tone it down as well?
Huh?
Are you prepared to tone it down as well?
So you know, man, you don't see me go curse people. I'm
asking. I say, are you prepared to tone it
They
down?
must don't curse people. I've never heard
I've always been that kind of person.
Yes.
They baby, I told some baby, that good question there. That good English.
Look, I just have to do sometimes I take jazz at people. I'm not insulting them. No. I mean, that's me, you know.
He's just a straight bold-faced guy.
Just straight, that's all. Just straight.
That's what our society don't like. Sometimes when you're so critical and you want to do the real thing, oh, that man, he did. You know, then they classify you.
We know that George Weah is the elephant in the room. Everybody like we had all these people got an ego. Nobody wants to listen to at all. I want to be president.
Okay.
And if we don't do something,
guys,
George Weah come and win this election, then you want to come and point at another person who should run them out of Liberia. That's what I'm saying. Because
okay. Let's go to Dolake for his last statement, and then we're going to go because usually 2 hours, but we had a first guest. So we're going to look at, all of us should look at that tape, the pronouncement or the statement from the chief of staff of the armed forces of Liberia. I'm concerned, who are those people sending in text that calling on him to overthrow the government? That's alarming. That is troubling. That's something we need to. I wish I had a time to have that conversation with, but we're going to have that. We will try to reach out. I think he's going to do more talking, and then so Dolake, quickly send us home. What are we doing here? Are we wasting our time?
No, we are really investing our time in the best way possible. We would have been doing something different. People would have been clocking in and clocking out. But because of the passion of the country, we have different understanding and different ideas that we're trying to unpack together so that it can help our country. I like to say that we have had a taste of likability. All Liberians have a taste of likability, and that can be seen from the chancellor regime to that of President Weah. Just on pure likability, I just like you. We are seeing the end product. We are now on an obligation to measure our likability, which is humor, against the ability of that person to produce per what we are requesting of them.
Jonathan, hold on 1 second. Mr. So, there's an echo in the background.
Let me see. Maybe, yeah. Okay, let me see.
And maybe you need to tell us let me just wrap it up quickly. So
let me just close up everybody for now and see. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So definitely, this likability, it has not yielded the insufficient food for us. So we need to move to practicality and look at the history of those individuals. Should the opposition have a second thought? Of course, the opposition should have a second thought. And the way to begin this thought is to collaborate on certain front of national issue. And the way to start it is to start in the legislature where there are opposition members there in order to agree to certain things. It will serve as a springboard to connect as to whether this conversation can be realizable as in contesting for standard bearer, vice standard bearer to go against President Weah. So I'm open, the ANC remain open in this conversation. And to have this conversation, it cannot be a one-option conversation. It means that you are sealed the door. It must be one or two options. Then, of course, it can yield the needed fruits in order for the opposition to move ahead. But thank you. It was a wonderful show.
Guys, ladies, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. The best of political commentators, contributor, analysts, political gurus, passionately support their candidates in all forms and shapes. Sister Goya, I support the candidacy of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio. Amos Joy from Atlanta, Georgia, support the candidacy of Alexander Benedict Cummings. And then Dr. Kevman Guetoranka support the candidacy of Mandela Cooper. And of course, our own Koto de Balayan support the candidacy 2 places. She won, at least if anybody wants, one with Boyka, one with Kume. Priority number 1 is Joseph Boyka. And then we have our man, Jonathan Tayad Dulake for the opposition's Alternative National Congress. The invitation is still waiting out there to the seditions. With my understanding, they're going to be sending a surrogate. Well, we will still continue to appeal with them. We want to do it fairly so that they will come and supply and defend the government. I don't know why they.
It's so Latin Tabata. Keep telling you every day. It's not Tabata.
That's
I will not give up. I think we want to make
what to say.
That's flat.
AC Masata Radio. What day again?
That's what to say. No, I
know. But anyway, just my announcement.
Let me tell you right now.
Let me break a groundbreaking announcement here. I am declaring that I'm going to be contesting in Liberia. I'm running to be superintendent of Lofa County and Sando County combined. 2023. The two places are no car can reach, and the 2 places are running for. So
why you want to be superintendent for Bon County closer to Lofa?
No, car can get there. They get quota. I'm going Lofa and Sando. Both of them together.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to have that conversation regarding the AFL. And this other news, I know it's been filtering, but now it's being reported by Front Page, 9 EPS. These are paramilitary personnel. Where are they? We'll try to reach out to the authority to see if we can get a word from them. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Quet, Koto, Sisset and Amos Joyce and our man Dulaket. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I will be back here again Friday. Thank you so much. Okay, there we go. And we're going to be back. And the reason I said this yet, if you are for ANC and to all of the analysts, if you think we can be an access to your campaign, to what you're going to do, let us know. We will be covering ANC big fundraiser expected. Reach out to us. And so whether you are from CDC, from ALP, LPP, or whatever party, and you think we can be an access to you, let us know right here on Liberia Public Radio. As long as we come to those terms and the conditions, your billboard will be here as well. We try to do it proportionally, and this is why we are reaching out to all of the major actors. And my conversation so far with the CDC chair here in the USA is going on well. Hopefully, she could be or could put forward a proxy to also be here to defend their party, and I think that is fair to do so. The old man on the wall time has caught up with us here this evening. I want to thank you so much for sharing your evening, your morning, and afternoon, depending on where you are. By God's will, and same time, same network, we'll be back here with more programming. My interview with Senator Cy Joseph is still on discussion. It should have been last week due to technical problems that was tabled, and we will confirm in the meantime as soon as we come to that. If there will be a replacement, definitely we'll let you know. Thank you so much for your support, for always being here with us. It's about Liberia and only Liberia. Whether you support the president, the incumbent president, the opposition, we want you to ask all of these valid questions. Don't come tomorrow and come tell us knowing what I know now. Those are the words of the politicians. And this is why they are running all over it, wherever they find day like that, where they go to. When they cause trouble in one party, they do not resolve that party. They goes to another party, and the party embrace them because there's no system. They don't even pay due. They don't hold no commitment to it. They don't believe in the ideologies of that political institutions. They just want a quick fix. And this is a system that is killing us today. And that's why you see the NDP is not alive. That's why you see the TWP is not alive. Unity Party is shaking. All of that is because more or less it's about the individual, but not the institution. They don't fight to sustain the very institutions they profess to be part of. Have a pleasant evening, and we'll be back here at some point in time. Bye-bye.
We don't only have a limited audience, limited to people who have data and have access to the internet, right? Now we're on radio, so we've expanded the pool of listeners, and because we in LPR are in the business of educating our people, what is political education or academic education or health education. Now we have access to a vast majority of the Liberian population that we can now interact with. And as far as the ambassador goes, I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Before I resign,
I know the brother is very smart. So I hope he brings some substance today, like you always do.
I issue a 13-page press statement is on the internet. If you check, you'll find it. And then the president subsequently called me back into government because at that time, she has sent all the cabinet ministers home for 2 weeks compulsory leave. I was one of those that she called back. And I said, no, I'm not coming back into your government because what I believe you will do is not what you are doing. This country went into civil conflict and over 300,000 people were killed. not in good faith. Isn't it the same Louis Brown who said to President Salif,